His 100th birthday. There is more analysis of the day's main stories over on Newsnight with Kirsty Walk. That is just about to get underway on BBC Two. The news, though, continues here on BBC One. It's time now to join our colleagues across the nations and regions for the news where you are. From all of us here, good night.
Thank you, Sophie. On BBC London, microplastics in the Thames. We have a special report. Good evening and welcome to the programme. I'm Victoria Hollins. The River Thames is believed to have some of the worst microplastic pollution levels in the world. These tiny particles are formed when plastic breaks down and then enters the ecosystem. On the foreshore, the most common items are wet wipes, but there are also plenty of bottles and food wrappers. Now, a charity wants stricter legislation around plastics to try and solve the problem. Our environment correspondent, Tom Edwards, has this special report.
The River Thames in Fulham. When the tide goes out, it reveals a dirty secret. This is where tons and tons of plastic gets dumped by the river. Large bits like this also break down into tiny fragments called microplastics. Researchers say the Thames has the most of any river in the world.
One of the concerns is obviously the fish are swimming along, they're then, absorbing these microplastics, and other animals are eating products that have microplastics in them, and then the public population are eating the fish, eating meat that has microplastics, and it's now getting into our bloodstream as well.
In Elizabethan times, salmon abounded here.
In 1957, the Thames was declared biologically dead. Since then, it has recovered. 125 fish species have been recorded in its waters. Now, though, the issue is plastic. It's low tide here at the moment at Fulham, and the amount of plastic here is absolutely shocking, actually. There's everything here from cable ties to sunglasses to razors. 200 tonnes of plastic is pulled out of the Thames every year. 80% of it is single use.
So this is a female mitten crab. You can tell by the broad abdomen on the underside.
This crab was caught next to Hammersmith Bridge.
Some of those almost certainly would have come from the breakdown of wet wipes.
This one had tiny fibres of plastic inside, which the crab had eaten.
Microplastics, it's virtually impossible to get them out of the environment once they're there. So it's much more effective to try and cut off that plastic getting into the environment in the first place. So a big part of that is trying to encourage people to change their behaviour.
Charities think tougher legislation is also needed.
We'd like to see the government introducing a ban on plastics in wet wipes, and obviously we could do more to eliminate single-use plastics.
The Thames is meant to be London's jewel. At the moment, it's a dumping ground for plastic. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Well, in response, the government told us in a statement, last year we launched a call for evidence on tackling commonly littered single-use plastics, such as wet wipes, as well as sachets, cigarette fillers and single-use cups. We are considering various options for wet wipes, including a ban on those containing plastic. After 2 days of disruption on the Dartford crossing, 2 men from the Just Stop Oil climate group have been arrested after climbing down from the top of the Queen Elizabeth II bridge. The crossing on the M25 over the River Thames has been shut as the protesters took action they said was against the government issuing new licences to explore for oil and gas. John Donnison reports.
More than 400 feet above the Thames, you can just about make out their orange banner. Hanging in hammocks, the 2 climate activists who shut down one of Britain's busiest bridges. The group they're from is called Just Stop Oil. They want the government to stop issuing new licences for oil and gas exploration, and they say their increasingly extreme action is necessary.
Unfortunately, those less disruptive ways are nowhere near as effective. We have tried doing marches, we tried holding placards on the side of the road. It doesn't work. This is an emergency. expect us anywhere, expect things to escalate. I empathise with everybody who has been disrupted. I really do. And the government can end this anytime they want by issuing a meaningful statement to say that there should be no new fossil fuel licences in the UK.
And it certainly has caused disruption. Drivers backed up after the police shut the bridge because of safety concerns.
When it comes down to ordinary folk not being able to get to work, hospital appointments, loads of other things, I just think it's disgraceful. I really do.
Well, I think probably underlying message is probably something people need to listen to, but I think the ways they go about it is obviously something that needs to be addressed as well.
And the local MP isn't happy either.
We've already got severe traffic problems in Dartford. We've also got very bad air quality in Dartford, and their actions simply add to it, and that's why I say it's very counterproductive of them.
The recently appointed Home Secretary says the government's new public order bill, which is currently going through Parliament, would crack down on such protests. Just Stop Oil says more than 450 of its members have been arrested during more than 2 weeks of action, but they're warning to expect an escalation, despite beginning to climb down tonight. John Donnison, BBC London.
OK, check on the weather with Kate Kinsella.
Hello there, good evening. Well, today has been quite warm, unseasonably so. Tonight is also going to be very mild, especially compared to last night. Now, it should stay largely dry, but we could just see 1 or 2 showers coming up in the west. If you do, you might just get a rumble of thunder, but dry elsewhere and temperatures mild between 10 and 13 Celsius the minimum. Now, for tomorrow, not so much fog as this morning because there's more of a breeze. It's an easterly breeze. Showers again, we might just get 1 or 2, but it should stay largely dry with some sunny spells. And despite the wind, the temperature is again going to be mild. We're looking at a maximum of 18 Celsius. As we head further through the week, it does stay unsettled. We've got showers, it's quite breezy, but some sunny spells, and the temperatures staying very mild for October, the mid to high teens Celsius.
OK, a quick reminder, you can see a range of stories affecting London on the London section of the BBC News app. But from all of us here, it's a very good night. Bye-bye.
Just another